an examination of the perils of modern monetary theory. In the modern age of governance, where the excesses of political ambition now spill forth into the realm of unchecked fiscal policy, we must confront a pernicious theory that seeks to undermine the time-honored principles of sound money. Modern monetary theory, commonly called MMT. Its proponents, chief among them Warren Mosler, proclaim that a government, when it alone commands the issuance of its own currency, can spend without restraint, tethering not its coffers to the limited resources of the people, but to an ever-expanding mountain of debt. In this essay, I shall expound upon the immoral effects of MMT, particularly upon those who labor under the burden of fixed incomes, foreign exporters, and the victims of monetary weaponization. I shall further address the necessity for control mechanisms such as gold and the promising advent of blockchains to restore balance and check government excess. We are thus charged, as were our forebears of 1776, with the sacred duty of vigilance against the creeping overreach of government. First, consider the plight of those who earn their bread on fixed incomes, such as pensioners, the elderly, and the infirm, those whose livelihoods depend on the value of their currency remaining stable. Under the auspices of MMT, governments, no longer constrained by the need for fiscal prudence, engage in endless spending, showering the public with newly printed currency. Though this may seem a boon to the profligate spender, it is nothing less than a curse to those of limited means. The value of their fixed income is eroded through inflation, a process made worse by the absence of any real check upon monetary creation. As the money supply grows unchecked, the prices of goods and services rise, and those on fixed incomes are left behind. Their purchasing power diminishes as the cost of daily necessities escalates. This is an immoral betrayal, for they are punished not for lack of labor or industry, but because the government, in its hubris, believes that its treasury need not be restrained. Those who have toiled their whole lives in honest labor should not see their means of survival whittled away by reckless policy. The evils of MMT extend even unto foreign shores. When a nation adopts the doctrine of endless currency printing, it cheapens its own money and makes its exports more competitive in the global market. Yet foreign exporters who receive this newly minted currency find themselves holding a rapidly devaluing asset. They have sold their goods at prices agreed upon in good faith, only to receive payment in currency whose worth diminishes by the hour. Such a system, in the long run, sows mistrust among trading partners, and it further entrenches the divide between nations. Foreign exporters, unable to trust in the stability of the currency they are paid with, will soon seek other avenues, perhaps demanding gold or other commodities in exchange, or turning to currencies that are more reliable. This erodes global trust in monetary exchange and weakens the bonds of commerce that tie nations together in peaceful trade. Perhaps the most grievous of all sins committed under MMT is the weaponization of currency against the political foes of those in power. When governments possess the unchecked ability to print money, they also possess the ability to weaponize that power, manipulating economies and punishing dissenters by devaluing currency or freezing accounts without due process. Such tools can be used to suppress opposition and force political compliance, not only within a nation, but also beyond its borders. In a global economy reliant upon international trade, the power to inflate or devalue currency at will becomes a weapon of coercion. Smaller nations or dissident groups may find themselves at the mercy of hegemonic powers, forced into submission by the manipulation of the monetary supply. This unchecked power leads to tyranny, and it defies the natural laws of freedom that our Constitution was designed to protect. The dangers of MMT cry out for remedy, and such remedies lie in mechanisms that decentralize and safeguard monetary policy from the overreaches of government. The wisdom of the Founding Fathers reminds us that centralized power is dangerous in all its forms, and this applies equally to the power of the purse. Gold, as history teaches us, serves as a sound and stable store of value, independent of government meddling. A return to the gold standard would provide a natural check upon government spending, for no more money could be issued than was backed by the gold reserves of the nation. This would force fiscal restraint and ensure that the people's wealth is preserved. Yet, as we stand upon the threshold of a new age of technology, we must also recognize the promise of blockchain technology. Blockchains, as decentralized ledgers, offer the means to establish sound money in the digital age. Cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, possess the power to bypass the reckless policies of governments and central banks. These currencies are built upon principles of transparency, security, and fixed supply, thus providing the very check on monetary excess that MMT seeks to abolish. Under a system bolstered by blockchain, governments would no longer have the unchecked ability to devalue their currencies at will. The people, through decentralized and secure systems, would have greater control over their own wealth, free from the inflationary whims of reckless politicians. Such a system would also prevent elites from exploiting loopholes to grant themselves unfair advantages, for the transparency of blockchain would make such corruption nearly impossible. In conclusion, we find ourselves today at a crossroads. On one hand, there is the path of MMT, a path that leads to inflation, economic instability, and tyranny. On the other hand, there lies the path of sound money, whether through gold, blockchain, or other mechanisms that decentralize power and protect the people from the overreach of government. We must choose the latter, for the stakes are nothing less than the preservation of freedom and the prevention of tyranny. As in the days of 1776, we must be vigilant in guarding against the overreach of government. MMT is but the latest incarnation of the Leviathan that seeks to strip the people of their wealth and independence. It is our duty to resist and to return to the principles of sound money, fiscal restraint, and decentralized power. Only then can we ensure that future generations inherit the blessings of liberty.